it in effect. We are back. We are back. I hope you are having a great Saturday. And as always, I hope you are having an amazing weekend so far. I want to welcome you to another great episode of The Color of Motion, where, hey, I like to say stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color and diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. This space that, I'm just crazy about. You know the drill. Make sure you kind of hop into the chat, the comments, say, hey, where you tuning in from so I can give you a shout out. Excuse me. Let me know how everything's coming through while I'm making sure that all the channels are up and going and playing. So jump on into the comments. I've been super excited about this episode. I know you will be too, but I definitely want to, like I said, have you enjoy this episode. Let's see, we are all set on all the other channels here. So if you're having an issue, please make sure that you hop in and let me know so I can get on that as well. Also, hey, the store is open. Make sure you hop on over to the store, pick you up some Color of Motion swag. We got some shirts, hoodies, mugs, constantly putting new stuff up there. So my goal is to see Color of Motion stuff all over the place. So make sure you hop on over there and pick you something up. My only request is if you do, take a picture of yourself, send it to me so that I can highlight it on the show, put it on the channels, and give you some props there for sure. So hop on over to thecolorofmotion.com/swag.com, colorofmotion.net/swag, and pick you up some gear there for sure. Also, you can connect with me on all my social channels right here. Definitely want to hear from you. Shout out, give you a shout out. Let me know what you think of the show. Any guests you may want me to try and get on, but I want to connect with all my viewers, so you can reach me on all those channels right over there as well. Like I said, we stream each and every week live to the YouTube channel, LinkedIn, the Facebook group, and the website you can check out the show at. But I always encourage everybody to kind of hop on over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notification so that you get notified of when all new content goes on there. And there you can, check out all the other past great guests that I've had on the show. So get yourself plugged into the YouTube channel and subscribe. Definitely will help the algorithm as well. Also, make sure that you hop on over to the Facebook group community. Get plugged in there. Facebook.com/groups/The Color of Motion. The family is growing and continuing to grow. We share industry news, have some great conversations. So I don't want you to miss out. So hop on over to the Facebook group, get plugged in, and there you can check out the show as well. So what else? Man, oh man, oh man. Just so much stuff going on. Like I said, I'm super excited that you all are joining me. This is the final episode of Season 3 before I take a little break. I'll be coming back with live episodes April 1st. And in between then, I'll be rebroadcasting some old episodes, kind of getting caught up with some things, getting prepped for kind of the second portion of Season 3, and just taking a little break as well. But definitely super glad that you are joining me for this kind of little, like I said, final episode of the first part of Season 3. I decided to try something different for Season 3 and take a little break in between a couple of months there. So Like I said, we will be back live with some live guests, and you'll see our next live guest at the end of the show. But we will be back April 1st live. But like I said, I'm not leaving you out or leaving you hanging the month of March. We will be rebroadcasting. I may do a couple of impromptu little lives in between then, but for the most part, taking that little break to kind of get prepped for the second portion of the show. What else? Man, oh man. Also, like I said, we always like the people that support the show. I definitely want to thank today's sponsor for this episode, DG Graphics. They do all the graphics, the overlays, the animations for the show. And if you are a business or brand that's looking to level up your brand design, maybe start your own live stream show, they can definitely help you look good creating your graphics and your designs and everything. So make sure you hop on over to dggraphics.com, check them out, get in touch with them. Like I said, I appreciate them for always sponsoring the show. All right. I think with that, we can kind of get this show on the road. So we'll be back in a minute. That was a little late. Yes, we are back and ready to get this kicked off for sure. Again, make sure you hop in. I want to hear from you guys and gals. I'm pretty sure is checking us out. But hop in the comments, like I said, and engage with this episode because I know you're going to enjoy it because, like I said, this one has been a long time coming. I was trying to get a next guest on in season 1, so it's been taking 2 seasons to get him on the show, but definitely worth the wait for sure. So my next guest is an experienced animator working in the U.S. He has an extensive and varied experience in his field, and he believes he's always looking forward and taking on new challenges with a fresh perspective and creating powerful, moving experiences for audiences through animation. He began his career in animation at Walt Disney and has been on a journey with his passion for working in film, television, and games. And as an animator, he has had wonderful experiences working with great companies such as Disney Feature Animation, Nickelodeon, Viacom, Curious Pictures, Cartoon Network, and a bunch of other smaller animation studios. Everybody, please help me welcome my very special guest and friend, the one, the only, Mr. Antoine Cunningham.
Antoine,
Antoine.
I
Like
like
I
that
was
music.
saying,
That brings
like I was saying, this was a long time coming, but well worth the wait, brother.
yeah,
Well worth the
I gotta,
wait.
yo, man, I gotta look good on the stage for the women, man. You know what I'm saying? My
You
girlfriend's
look
gonna kill me,
amazing.
you know.
You look
No,
amazing. You look amazing, man. And like I said, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show, supporting the show, and just being a part of it, man.
yeah, it's so amazing what you're doing for people of color, man. Giving them a voice. I really want to thank you that from the bottom of my heart. I feel like I owe you this one because for years and years you're trying to get me on this thing, man, and I owe you this. You know what I mean?
Man, I appreciate it. Like I said, I came across you. Like we were saying, almost 2 3 years ago. Saw your work and just knew I had to get you on the show. But hey, like I said, I'm a patient person. I know
Yeah.
people are working busy, so timing may not always work out. But I knew you had such value to really inspire others
Well,
and
thanks, man. I
spur
appreciate
them
it.
on.
I think I suck, but thank you so much.
Well, hey, I can tell. I'm going to tell everybody he doesn't. Once you see his work, he doesn't. He's just being modest and really downplaying his skill. But
Every day I bash my girlfriend with this. She's like, "Stop it," you know what I mean? So yeah,
I'm expecting to see her hand slap you upside the head. Quit that! Quit that!
stop it, man. Nah.
Oh man, I always like to know how you initially got interested in. I'm always interested in how artists got interested in animation. Was it something you always loved and wanted to be a part of, or was it something that you kind of picked up a little later down the line, or what?
You want the long version or the short version?
Whatever version you want to give me, bro. Where I got time.
Listen, I want to give a shout out to the people that I love and care about the most. This makes me a little bit emotional here. My friend David Carwell is like, I love him to death. My girlfriend, she dealt with all my stuff that's getting on her nerves and what I'm trying to do, and I love my daughter. Hopefully she's attended this thing. I'm a cure if she's not. Um, uh, uh, nah, I love yeah. Everything is about my kids now. Like as I got older, it's all about my kids. When I was younger, I'm gonna make this short. Uh, and David knows this. Like he grew up in a more upper class area than I did. Right? Like
Yeah,
he's a founder. He's like amazing. He's a genius to me. He's the founder of you remember the program Mudbox?
yeah, Mudbox.
Yeah, David did part of Mudbox, ZBrush, and he's just freaking amazing. You know what I mean? He does all the tech and
Wow.
designing tools and all that. He has his own company with Adobe now and all that. He's
Oh
freaking
man.
amazing. So I'm trying to get to his level. You know what I mean? As far as growth and wealth. But I admire him so much, and you know, to make a long story, go back to your question. To make a long story short, I grew up in a impoverished, depressed area where, as an Afro American man, you wasn't supposed to make it out of the ghetto, right? Like I would have to
Yeah,
step over bodies, see people getting shot and killed, fights outside my door. I would have to fight all the time. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, and so I don't say that to use that as an excuse or as a victim. I say that as that was like my fuel to get out of that, right? And so me sitting here with you is a testament to that, right? Um, so I just believe that I had good role models. My father wasn't necessarily in my life, but I had good uncles who guided me in the right way, kept me out of trouble. I had spells where I was in trouble. Um, as a young adult, young male, you go through different spells. But I always
yeah,
had this wonderful gift, God-given gift to do this craft and just to do art in general. And that's the one thing that kept me out of those things, Like
yeah,
so,
yeah,
growing up in in those kind of areas kind of pushed me just to keep going and say, hey, I want to be something. I want to be somebody. No matter how I get there, I want to be relentless about it, right? Like my attitude is like, if you're the best motherfucker that knows how to do what you need to do, I'm coming to you because and learn from you because you know how to do it better than I, right? So I'm gonna take that knowledge and apply it to myself and to my own skill set so that I can be better, right? Um, and growing up, I was just, I met all my friends and stuff in college, and I had always, I was able to draw, from my mother's womb, basically coming out of birth. But I needed to harness that, and I was able to harness that by going to school and getting trained by some phenomenal professors, phenomenal artists, and then I migrated those skills to just, working hard every day, every single day, even to this day. But I wasn't as focused back then like I am now. You know what I mean? Because I'm doing it for more reasons than just myself. Um, so uh, it was hard. It was hard, because you don't have those opportunities. Again, I don't like being a victim. I like to go out there and take it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm very pro. I'm very, I'm like a comeback dude, but very intense, right? I'm very intense and very relentless on what I want, and I just work my ass off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I work my ass off.
Yeah.
Uh, but to make a long story short, I went through all that, and then I was lucky enough after college to be skillful enough to want to go to one of the biggest conglomerate companies in the world, right? Because at that time they went around the country to all these schools, and I think they needed 11 people out of all the particular. I can't remember all those particular schools they were looking at, and so I was lucky enough to be able to draw well. So at that time they had all these like Lion King, Beauty
Yeah.
and the Beast, all these movies where they needed animators for, but they needed you to draw well, right? And then they would train you to be an animator through that process, right? Because everything was done on paper. Um, so I was just lucky. And then when I got there, I was just a little peon. You know what I mean? I worked under Glenn Keane. I worked under Ruben
That's a good
Aquino.
person to work under.
Yeah, I didn't work directly under Glenn Keane, but I worked on
Yeah.
his movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, so,
But
you
to
know
be
what I mean?
able to learn and be in that position that you're learning from people like that is
Glenn
a
Keane's one of
great
the best
position.
animators I've ever seen. Like his shots are just amazing. Like because back then they had these things where they had these little rooms where animators would test their shots before they would go into dailies, or they would shoot play blasts. But they wasn't called play blasts then. They were called scene machines, and they were just like cameras that you would have hooked to a stand, and you would just put down every drawing, right? And so you would shoot it, run back, play it back, see if it's working. If something wasn't working, you would go back and run back to the scene machine, make tweaks, shoot it again until you got the animation right, and then you were ready for dailies, right, to show it.
Yeah.
So uh, one of my other animators that trained me, his name is Rune Beneke. He was from I don't know if he was from Germany, one of those countries, but he was younger than me at the time. And he was an amazing animator, right? And he saw me in there fumbling around doing all this crap, and he was just like, "You're not doing this right. This is not right." And so that wasn't the first time that he came around and said he kept coming around, like, because he always saw me in there just like trying to work hard to get better at this craft, right?
Yeah.
Um, and he was like, "I see that you're serious about learning this, and I want to teach you." And I said, "Okay, all right, I'll do it." You know what I'm saying? Like, you better than me. I want to take what you got and apply it to where I'm trying to go because I was hungry, right? And I'm still
Yeah.
hungry to this
Yeah.
day. So I'm really thankful for him. I'm thankful for Ruben Aquino who worked on Ursula and all these big films. He's retired now. I actually had Ursula. I actually had Ruben Aquino on one of my shows with one of my students that I was doing. I had him come on. He was nice enough to come on and talk to them. He's a lot older now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but he was really, really beautiful person to just hardcore but beautiful, right? Like it's just like, yo, you're not doing this shit right. This is not, you know, But to make a long story short, I went through all that, and then worked on all those films, and then I transitioned to TV and started doing all this TV stuff, right? And I went to New York, and I was on Nickelodeon, all these TV shows. I can't even, my IBM, it's like I don't even put all of this stuff because I have to update all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like small shops, big shops, all every just because you back then you had to really hustle for work. Nowadays it's easy to get work, right? Like you connect and you build relationships with people. It's easy to get work. Nowadays, back then you had to really hustle. You
Yeah.
had to walk into the studio and be like, "Please give me a job,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like nowadays it's easy. And a lot of these, I try to explain this to a lot of young folks, is they don't understand like these jobs wasn't where they were back then. Like you
Back
really had to
then.
hustle.
Yeah.
You had to walk the pavement, man, with VHS tapes and all this stuff, portfolios, papers
Yeah,
falling
portfolio cases and all of that stuff.
like,
I
you
don't think
know,
I've touched mine since I graduated.
yeah, and then at the same time, 3D Toy Story came out, all this 3D stuff was coming out, and I wasn't good enough at that time because I was making a transition from 2D to 3D, which is a big, at least at that time for me
Yeah.
personally. I mean, for some other people, it might have been easier,
Yeah.
but for me, it was a big transition from working on flipping paper all day long to working in an app
Computer. Yeah.
and moving
Yeah.
around a 3D character in the interface, right? So that was a
Yeah.
big hurdle with using controls to move, a character where you can just draw it and it's simple, getting your arcs and your overlapping right, squash and stretch, all this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Really,
And
it
that
was
was a
hard to.
big thing. That, of course, like you said, when Toy Story came out and 3D started to really explode. That was kind of the big fear of a lot of traditional animators that, okay, this is just one. Some of them just didn't weren't hard, had a hard time making the jump, didn't want to make the jump, felt like 3D was just gonna take their jobs and kill them because they were doing traditional stuff. But it was turned out to just be another form of animation. Do you feel like coming into Disney when you did, during the paper flipping and the shooting of the individual shots and everything like that, do you feel like that gives you a better foundation of animation, um, as to, it pertains to how you're doing it now? Do you feel like that was a good time for you to come in, and learn kind of the craft of really animating, if as opposed to if you came in now when they're doing it pretty much all on computers and everything like that?
That's a very good question. I personally, I mean, it's a disclaimer here, please. Everybody looks at this differently. There's some great 3D animators that never touched a piece of paper in their life, right?
Yeah.
So I say for me personally, from where I was coming from, it helped me, right, to understand overlap and follow through, um, pushing past a point. If you're squashing and stretching something, or something is going down, you go past it to give a cushion to go out of it, right? And it gives like a bounce, like so it's nothing just hits the wall. It's just kind of like, and then you come out of it. You can come out of it fast. I'm talking about a timing thing. I don't
Yeah.
want to get
Yeah.
crazy with animation, but um, I think it helped me. It was just correlating those ideals that I had learned and trained for all those years into 3D, right? And then out of forced attrition, I had to do that because a lot of the 2D guys were getting killed off because either you learn this shit or you were done. You wouldn't get no job. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So I ended up taking, and actually David was when we were in college. He was already. I was still. I actually, believe it or not, Don, I wanted to be uh, Michelangelo, Caravaggio, fine artist painting, right? Like I
Mm.
wanted. I didn't even want to be no animator. That
Yeah.
wasn't even in my sights. I liked looking at the Disney stuff and all the cartoons growing up, but I wanted to be more of a realistic,
Fine art
real
painter. Yeah.
artist. That's what I was all about in college. And then, but because I had the skill to draw, they were lucky enough to take me, and I was lucky enough to go from there. But it took about when I was at Disney, about 5 or 6 years, really to really become an animator, to really understand, like, okay, now I kind of understand how to do this,
in the
right?
computer. Yeah.
It takes a long time, man. It's not something that you know that just comes
Yeah,
off.
it's not a quick thing. Even now, it's not a quick thing. Even with computers, you know.
It's hard to do, man. This takes a long. It might take you 40 years of your life before you finally be like, you know what, I'm actually pretty decent at this. You know what I mean? Like, so, and I try to explain this to young folks because when I was teaching and doing, it's like, you ain't getting this over in 2 years or two
No.
months. It ain't happening. You know what I mean? At least it
No.
ain't happened for me. You know what I mean? So I had to work hard to get to the level that I am and be able to do this stuff. And then, like I said, I still think I suck. I still
Yeah.
got some stuff I need to work on. And I hate to use stuff like that. I always like to come from a positive perspective, but
Well, I think
um,
that's every. I think every animator or creative. I won't say just animator, but I think every creative, in a sense, is a little hard on themselves because I think I could have done better at this or done better at that, and that just helps make your craft better. If you're a little harder yourself and use that to push you to learn even more and get even better at it, which is why I think even the big ones, they'll still say, I still have a lot to learn. And they've been in
listen,
the industry.
I'll tell you a secret. I don't mean to cut you off. Sorry about
No,
that, Don. The most humble people, the people don't understand the difference between being humble and confident. Now, I'm humble, but I'm confident that I can do it, right? I'm humble that um, it's not an arrogance thing. It's just from a confidence. Like, if you the best motherfucker in the place, I'm coming at you, right? To learn what you need to learn, so I can get to where I need to go. You know what I mean? So it's not from an arrogant standpoint. It's from I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? I'm intense. I'm hungry. I want to be great at this, right? Like, I look at it like at my stage and my age. I talk to this about my daughter a lot. My time is running out. It's either you make it happen or you don't. It's
yeah,
over. Because when you go on 6 feet under, that's it. It's a wrap. So you better do what you got to do as soon as possible to make it happen. And
yeah,
so if you can't act on something, it's like if you can't breathe. If you want this as bad as you can't breathe, this is a quote from. I listen to a lot of motivational things from Eric Thomas and a lot of these motivational
yeah,
speakers and stuff. And I read a lot of books like this, a
yeah.
lot of
The
success
Alchemist,
books.
yeah, no,
I read a lot of stuff that you put in your brain. It's all between the ears, right? This is a comeback for me. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of great years for me, and there's been a lot of down years for me that I don't really like talking about. But like, this is like my second time around to really make it happen. And like, you got to be hungry for like knowledge, learning, and just getting better. You got to be. I get up every morning, even for my own company. I get up every morning 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm working. I'm grinding when people are sleeping. I'm working hard. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Making mistakes, failing all the time, failing. I fail more than I succeed. Um, but you learn more from those failures than the successes. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Because that's the
yeah,
stuff that you keep in your brain on knowing what to do and how to do it better next time. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, I'm with you there.
I'm
I'm a big.
talking so much here. I want you to talk, man. So,
No.
so
I'm trying to get in where I feel. I feel like a double dutch here. Get in where you fit in.
all right, man. I'm sorry about
Nah,
that.
but I,
They said, I got a quote here, man. Be on time, pay attention, shut up, and only be spoken to. You need to be spoken to. Sorry about that.
hey, I already knew that you had a lot of value to bring. So, like I said, that was the big reason, one of the big reasons why, like I said, I was just so excited about having you on. And like you, I'm a big proponent of self development, reading books, listening to motivational people. And another quote, a guy I listened to, Jim Rohn, he's passed
Yeah,
now. He said you're the guardian of the door to your mind. So whatever you let in is what's going to grow, and you're
exactly.
the one that decides what information you take in and let sprout. And so that's a big crucial thing that I think most people don't. tend to work on is their mind
They don't
controlling,
open
really
their mind.
having control of your mind.
It's
You know,
all between the ears. It's all between. If somebody's telling you, that's why I don't believe in the imposter syndrome stuff. I'm like, that's bullshit. You like you're just in your head too much, right? It
yeah,
happens to everybody to some degree, and usually it happens on L's. What I mean by L's, meaning you failed at something, or you failed at a task, or you didn't do well. So then you go home and you getting this stupid stuff going through your head, and you're like, oh, do I suck? Do I? Da, 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 da.
yeah,
And it's
all
really
that
just
self talk. You know,
dumb stuff. It's a fake thing. That's like, stop it. You there? You at this company for a reason. Obviously, they believe in you. You wouldn't be there.
yeah,
So it's just, you know, it's just a dumb thing that It's like get out of your head. Stop it. Just pick yourself up. Like I watch a lot. I play sports too, and I watch a lot of boxing. I watch a lot. Dudes get knocked on the mat. You get back up. You keep swinging. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you knock him out. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a lot. It's just a lot of things. You gotta work at it each and every day, and
yeah,
just keep until you get better,
yeah.
and strive for that greatness. So
No, I agree. I agree. It's a hard thing to do because we're so conditioned to think a certain way. So you have to, like you said, you have to actively take control of your mind to rule over your thoughts. Most people we let our thoughts kind of rule us and move us, but it takes you do have control. We're the only creature. We are the only creature that has the power of decision. We can make whatever decision we want. Go left, go right. Go north and go south. We're the only ones that can make that decision. Other animals they run by instinct
yeah,
in
so
that.
I,
So
yeah,
that's what gives us power. But it takes an active person to take control of that power. Let's say
exactly.
hey to some people that are joining us here. Miss Granny, I appreciate you tuning in. Miss Maggie, hey everyone and guests. I'm last. You're not last, but you're here. That's that's the main thing, Maggie. You're here. Crossworks, hello. Appreciate you tuning in and joining the show for sure. And yes, we do have daughter here in the house. Hey, Dad.
God, this is what it's all about right here. It's about my daughter, man. Everything. You know what I'm saying?
Miss
I love
Melina, we appreciate you tuning in. And
this about my
Dad does
daughter.
it for you, for sure. In A Vision Media, all right, AC, love your work, fam. You are a great inspiration to me, bro. Hey, that's why I had him on, because I know he's an inspiration for me. So I know he's going to be an inspiration to so many other people as well. Mr. Mario, appreciate you tuning in from Nigeria, my African brother. Appreciate you tuning in for sure. Helicopter FX, go Antoine. Yes, yes, yes. All right, all right, all right. And hey,
Man,
downtown, downtown DeMille, I can so relate to that. Having a mentor is so important. Yes, so important. Having somebody that believes in you, and that is really willing to help you, learn. And I think that's, when you ask somebody, um, hey, I want to learn from you, that's a compliment to them, letting them know, hey, I know you know more than I do. I want to learn from you, for sure. Oh, bot, appreciate you for sure coming in. Maybe you should contact Big E, WWE. I don't think he'd fit into the format there, Mr. Allbot, but I appreciate the suggestion and I appreciate you always tuning in. I apologize for any technical difficulties. I want to make sure that I'm streaming to my YouTube channel, so I'm going to hop on over to YouTube and make sure that I'm streaming. But I appreciate everybody that's going to trickle back in. My system locked up on me there. And like I always say, it's the nature of kind of live streaming.
my
Uh,
damn video.
Mr. Mario, I appreciate you trickling back in. I'm laughing because Mr. Antoine clearly let me know that all this happened on his video. So, uh, Please, again, everybody that is, like I said, just tuning in. Hopefully, let me see. I want to make sure I am streaming. People hop onto the chat and let me know if I am back on. I see that trying to see if I am live back on. People are starting to trickle back in. Uh, Sorry there, Miss Maggie. My system locked up on me, so I had to restart my system, everybody. But we are back in effect here for sure. So I appreciate everybody sticking with me and sticking with us here. And definitely going to make it up to my man Antoine on that for sure. So I just want to make
But trying
sure.
3 years to get me out here.
This isn't. He's gonna give me hell all the way through this, so I might as well just suck it up and take it. But typically doesn't typically doesn't go like this. But you know the nature of technology. Sometimes it happens, and like I said, lately it's been really taxing on my system here. So I appreciate again. I appreciate. Don't get mad, Maggie. Stuff shit happens. So stuff, ish happens. So, but hey, if nothing else, I roll. I've learned to roll with it. We're gonna roll with all of this stuff. So we're back. I want to make sure that I'm streaming on LinkedIn as well. So I'm going to hop on over to LinkedIn. I don't want to tax out my systems again with all these tabs. I'm just quickly making sure that I am live. Uh, Hopefully, uh, yeah, I'm live on LinkedIn. I want to close this out because I don't want to be on LinkedIn. All right, we are back. Let me get up my questions so I can get back on track here.
That's all right.
I quickly got thrown off, but hey, I'm hey 3 years into this, I'm a master of just rolling with it. So fuck it.
It's all good. It's all good.
uh, my like I said, we were talking about just your journey and into it, and being fortunate to kind of come into animation during the time that you did. With some of the older, more seasoned animators such as Glenn Keane and some of the others that you worked with and learned with. Um, what for you? What was kind of the biggest lesson or thing that you took away from that whole experience? Was there one good solid nugget? I mean, I know there was many of them, but what was kind of the biggest thing that you took away from your experience just coming into Disney at that time with those type of animators?
That's a great question. Um, don't give up. That probably what I got from them.
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Yeah, just keep. It's a long.
Let me
I'm
turn
breaking
this.
up.
Jeez, error making ISO recording. I know what it is. Okay, just stop that ISO recording. I want to stop that right there. All right. I think what was killing me a lot was I'm recording from both my cameras, and it's
Okay.
taxing my. Yeah, I use multiple cameras, and even though I don't switch my camera view, Ecamm allows me to still record the video from it, so that if I want to cut between, when I'm editing, if I want to cut, uh, I still got multiple camera views, even though you may not see it from this point. But
That's sweet. That's sweet. That's sweet.
uh, don't give up was the big piece of advice for you, and big lesson for you. What I mean, you've worked on a lot of different stuff, and we're going to take a look at kind of the piece you've been working on, and some of your stuff. But what were some of the animations that you enjoyed watching, and really got into when you were younger? I mean, there's a lot of different styles. Is there any one particular style that you kind of like more than others?
Okay, that's a great question because I don't watch animated films.
Oh, okay.
For instance, I watch live action,
Okay.
and I
Okay.
don't know if that makes any sense to you. I watch
Not
live
really,
action.
but
I don't. I don't mean to say. I
we're going off the rails, people. So this is going to be another one of those episodes. I'm thinking to myself, okay, you made an animated film, but you don't watch
don't watch. Listen. I didn't even watch my own films. I don't even like looking at them. I'm
Oh
like,
man.
listen. When I grew up as a kid, I
Yeah.
watched. I'm saying as I got older through my own career, I didn't watch none of those productions. I just didn't watch them. I thought they were like half of the stuff was garbage. And I'm like, I don't know. I just didn't watch it. Like, but as I got older, I watch live action because I love film so much and film and VFX. So I just don't get my inspiration from animated films, right? I
Yeah.
can't watch, certain films and piss and boots and get animation. Even though I heard that was a good plot twist in that story, though. I heard it was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
it was really good. I don't watch that stuff. You know what I mean? I watch live action. I watch like Morgan Freeman, Denzel Washington. I watch these great actors. I watch, Tom Cruise. I don't know if you consider him a great actor, but I watch all. I watch,
No knock on you, Tom. This is.
listen,
I
listen,
loved
listen.
Minority Report, Tom. I loved it.
That was cool. That
Yeah.
was cool. So
No,
I
but I
watch.
understand. You really get a sense for film, and like, I guess, uh, camera work, camera moving, and just
Right, right.
everything.
But I will give you one film that turned the corner, and it's my friend's film, David's film, uh, that changed for me as I was learning 3D at the time. This was in 2005, right? I was already learning it before then,
Yeah.
but Peter Jackson's King Kong, the whole T-Rex fight sequence. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the one thing that made me be like, I got to do this. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So if that gives you, I don't know if that's a good enough example for you, but that's something that I like. Now, as far as the older stuff, growing up, my favorite film is Alien, 1979, Ridley
Mm.
Scott
Yeah.
film
Yeah.
is my favorite film of all time,
Yeah.
right? And my second film that blew me away, as far as the tech, was Jurassic Park, the first Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and uh, I didn't quite understand what I was looking at when I was watching that in college. I just knew it was mind blowing. I knew it was going to change the game. And I was like, this is the greatest shit I've ever seen in my life
Yeah.
as far
Yeah.
as dinosaurs. And I just actually just got an email with one of the masters and the founders of, he was just emailing me, Steve Spass Williams that worked on it, was just emailing me telling me he lives in the States now. I thought he was in Canada. He's just emailing me out of the blue, like,
Oh
hey,
wow.
yeah, I live in Billings, Missouri, and because I live in Billings, Montana. He's like, Antoine, I live in Billings, and I'm like, this dude's emailing me. So This guy's a founding father. Whoa, you know, he knows me out of nowhere on LinkedIn. I'm like, cool, man. Let's chat it up. Let's talk. You know what I mean? So, but people like that I respect. Um, I think they're awesome. And they're just phenomenal people. They changed the game. They changed the industry, and I just love that. But that was one of the other movies that did it for me. It
Yeah,
wasn't so much Toy Story. Toy Story was did it for me in terms of you could do a film all CGI.
yeah, yeah,
But something that really blew me away was Jurassic Park. I was
yeah,
like, oh my god,
yeah.
this is going to change the industry. But my favorite film is Alien. Ridley Scott is my favorite director. My
Yeah,
favorite all
I
that.
could kind of tell, from your real. I was like, that's what I thought of when I saw your work. I was like, yeah, consider that
So
Alien.
inspired, totally ain't totally inspiration there from that. But he's my favorite director. Um, and we got Steven Spielberg is my favorite director. I'm going in the chronological order, right?
Yeah,
Uh, James Cameron is my favorite director. I love Way of the Water. I thought it was a phenomenal film.
yeah.
Awesome. I watched it like 2 times. I mean, well, 1 time, but we just stayed in there and just was like, yo, this is
He just people. If you didn't quite catch that subtlety, he just gave it away.
that.
Oh man.
I was just like, yo, that was just amazing, man. The test, everything. I love.
No,
So,
I agree. There are just some directors that are just masterful
yeah.
storytellers and directors. I tell you another one I love, Guillermo del Toro. Del
Oh yeah,
Toro.
yeah, yeah.
He's
We
an
worked on.
amazing director. Yeah, you just said Way of the Water. Just yeah, he's just amazing. And his new one, Pinocchio, is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, one of my coworkers, actually my CG suit, worked on that. He won the Vestige Award for
Oh
that.
wow, cool, cool, cool. Yeah,
For working on Pinocchio. So yeah, he if he's watching this, which I don't know if he is or not. I just saying kudos to him for that. But yeah, he won on that, and the owner of my company, Dennis, we call him DB. Um, that he works a lot with Guillermo and stuff, and he knows all these directors. And he's amazing. I love him. And Yeah, I haven't met Guillermo myself, but like we're affiliated kind of with them. Like I don't
yeah.
know if you seen the show Cabin of Curiosity. Have you seen that?
Curiosities. Yeah, yeah. Cabinet of
Yeah,
Curiosities.
yeah. Haley, one of my soup. I think she worked on that.
Oh
A
wow.
couple from my company worked on that. So yeah, so it's all kind of connected, man. You know what I mean?
Man, that's so amazing. Amazing connections for sure, man.
She's
Uh,
great too. I don't know if she's watching this. I'm throwing out kudos so I don't.
He's throwing out kudos, people. So make sure you tune in. Again, I appreciate everybody that is sticking it out. We had a little technical difficult, or I had a little technical difficulties there. I just want to make sure that you're. I can see everybody. The YouTube is working because Mr. Downtown Demille is back. I appreciate that, Demille. Don, yeah. I'm not knocking Tom Cruise because I loved Top Gun. I think I liked the first one better than did the second one, but I love Top Gun. Tom Cruise fan for sure. Interview with the Vampire, so I love his movies as well. Um, but um, for you, uh, do you enjoy working more at smaller studios than say some of the bigger ones like Nickelodeon or Disney? Do you feel like you kind of get a little more creativity at smaller studios, or to you does it really matter?
I think in my younger years, it was all about working at the big studios. It was like a conglomerate mindset. Like, oh, I got to work with the big conglomerates. I think now it's more like it is what it is. This is a great small studio, and we're doing great work. We have a great team. I'm cool with that, right? Um, but I would say when I was younger, it was like I get in Disney. I had to get in, into these big places. But now I think I'm more relaxed on that. You know what I'm saying? In
Yeah.
terms of bigger studio versus smaller studios. As long as we're making great films and a great product. I mean, and I'm getting paid and they cut that check. I'm good.
We say that check's clearing.
I was saying, that's all I'm saying, man. You know,
We're having fun, people. Man. Hey, this is the final show of the first part of season 3. We're gonna have some fun, man. And I've been waiting a long time to get my man Antoine on. And for people just jumping in, like I said, we're having a fun conversation with my man Antoine Cunningham, lead animator, and extraordinary guy for sure. So I appreciate everybody, kind of like I said, sticking it out with me on the technical difficulties there. But hey, the nature of live stream is we roll with it and we just go on. I appreciate you, Antoine, for being cool with it and hanging with me for sure. Um, we're gonna take a look at some of your work, a little bit of the artwork for your movie, and a little bit of that. We're gonna get into that, but what was for you? How big was the kind of impact that your mother had? And like you said, you came from kind of a disenfranchised kind of surrounding. Um, and how was it kind of keeping that stuff at bay that you could get off into that wasn't going to take you down the right road, and really kind of finding a tribe of people at that age kind of keeping you on track?
my mom was very strict. We had to have good grades. We had to go to school. We had to be on time. I mean, teachers actually hated my mother. I actually, I actually would rather get punishment from the teachers than my mother.
I hear you. I hear you.
I'm like, don't call my mother. I know I was acting up in class, but do not call my mother. Please don't, because I'm gonna. And my mother didn't care. I mean, those folks back then, man, they didn't. They grab pot pans.
Yeah, yeah. I got the switch. I don't know if you got a switch. Mine's was the switch.
Man, they didn't care. I mean, she would go black. Like, I mean, literally, like it was like a depraved woman. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, it's like crazy. I'm like, I thought she was losing her mind, man.
Oh man. But
But
you
it, but
appreciate it. You appreciate it so much more as an older person now.
I appreciate it as an older person now, and I thank her every day. I said, Mom, I'm glad you kept me on track and kept me away from these knuckleheads, because I was at a time where I was around these knuckleheads, right? I was doing things, I was kind of a womanizer. I don't
Yeah.
mean to put that on the show, but I was like,
Too late to
I
ask
was,
live.
I'm just saying, I was doing things that, I was all over the place, but the one thing that kept me in line is I had this gift to do this craft. I don't know if you want to, depend on how your religious beliefs, or you think it's a God given gift, whatever. Um, because I don't want to upset people here about their religion and nothing like that. I want a disclaimer on that. But um, that kept me in line and kept me focused. And then along with my uncles and stuff, and my father not being in my life, those individuals kept me grounded and kept me in the right place. And
Yeah.
so having this gift was like something that I could, like, hey man, I can maybe do something with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what kept me. That was one of my early motivations, was to get out of that situation, right? Out of those depressed areas and dealing with stuff like that. Those people, unfortunately, um, don't really have a lot to look forward to. They just surviving and trying to get by.
Yeah.
And so I was just always a kid with a dream, like, yo, I can get out of this. You know what I mean? I can
Yeah.
utilize the skill to my advantage and try to get out of this. So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Mr. DeVille, yeah, this this is the after hours, and I've been thinking about doing like an after hours edition of Color Motion, where you get a little bit more raw, but
off the
uh,
record.
Yeah,
How
kind
was
of
it?
off the record kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But I'm glad you're enjoying it, DeMille, for sure. And no, I definitely agree that it's highly important because my mom was like that. Like I said, for the most part, my dad wasn't really in my life for the most part, but she made sure that she surrounded me around adult males that really kind of fed into me and really
that's
encouraged me in my
that's
gift and talent as well. So
that's awesome.
um, I'm gonna and let me jump over here because I want to show a little bit of the poster work for the short before we show it. And while I do that, what was kind of your inspiration? Obviously, we are having like major technical difficulties here. Uh, this
You
is
about
just
to take you about to take a hiatus too.
and when you know it on the last hiatus here. Oh man, jeez, this is. And I said, it's gotta be better than this. Okay, I'm gonna just roll with this here. Uh, what was the inspiration, kind of, for your movie that you want to do? Obviously, I get it, because it just that's what I thought when I saw it. It's like, okay, this is kind of like a alien feel. Really took me
Don,
back to that.
you're treading some slippery slope here.
Okay. Well, like I
No, no,
said,
no, no.
this is.
I think. Hey,
Now I will
I
give a
want to
disclaimer. This is still in the works. So he's, it hasn't officially come out, and he's still working on it. So there's a lot of stuff he can and can't say. So anything that you can't say, Antoine, just say shut the fuck up now.
listen. I'm a screenwriter too, so I don't want to. I don't want to get none away with the story. All I was. I don't want to say nothing, man. All I can say is
Can I show it, or can I not? Do you want? If you don't want me to show it, I won't.
no, no, no. You can show it. You
Oh,
can
okay.
show it. This is a promo trailer. I mean, I don't personally. I don't like it no more. I'm gonna redo all this stuff. Like once I reboot, I'm too busy right now to even work on this thing. But uh, once I have the funding, kind of the funding for it to get it started now. But I think the promo trailer is fine, man. Go
Yeah.
ahead and show it. People have seen it in anyway. So
We're
um,
gonna I'm gonna show it, and I'm gonna kind of come back because I want to ask you about just the whole process of if you're an independent filmmaker, the things you went through, the things you had to go through to kind of get it, kind of off the ground. 'Cause I know it's tough to start when it's just
yeah,
your idea, and then getting other people on board your idea, and kind
but
of.
I would say the second time around, it was a huge learning experience for me. I mean, I don't know why I'm just a nut like that to think that I can make a 30-minute film, like, and literally by myself. Like, I mean, like, just crazy like that, right?
It can't be done.
Uh,
It may take you a while, but it can be done.
yeah, and animated too, which is even harder.
Yeah, yeah, I can
Uh,
imagine. So let's take a quick look at it. Hopefully, this thing won't screw up on me here. So we'll let everybody cross your fingers. So
They came to our planet and invaded every single nation across the globe. They took our water, our land, even humans themselves. There's a war that's been going on for years. And the fight for our survival is critical.
Wow. That was well. Before we dive into that, again, I appreciate everybody sticking with me through these technical difficulties here on my last episode. It would be Antoine, like I said, but
What happened to the sound, man?
this,
What
did
happened
the
to the
sound
sound?
not play? Did the sound
It,
not play?
it played. It just sound like it just didn't sound
Well,
like
I mean, that was because I had to take it from it. The sound really wasn't as good a quality had I had the actual video
yeah.
file, so I had to kind of record this one off of your site,
Oh,
which the
oh, okay.
sound doesn't. Yeah, that's why I was asking you for the
Like
video.
the actual video for
Yeah,
yeah,
because the sound sounds much better.
yeah.
Otherwise, it sounds kind of echoey. If I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
record it off of the web.
Most
So
people, most people who follow me have seen this trailer anyway,
yeah.
or this whip trailer anyway, so it doesn't matter.
But again, like I said, what caught my attention was one was you were doing it by yourself. I think at the time when I first saw it, I think that was you hadn't gotten funding, and this was something that you were working on. I think for the most part yourself.
Yeah, but I don't want to discredit the team that I had. These guys were phenomenal. Um, Will Page, Michael Wajada. I don't know if I said Michael's last name correctly. Uh, Dominic Hassey, who I'm actually working with now at the company I'm at. But these guys, hung in there. And then, like I said, when I caught COVID, I was so uh, just overworked with the whole COVID experience that I was just like, I just need to, And this leads me into uh, the generalist aspect of being just an animator or being or just a lighter or a moderator or a texture artist.
Yeah,
I was literally had to do everything except mostly the effects. And then I was just felt like I was just doing too much. I'm like, yo, I need a freaking team and put stress on great,
yeah. For
great.
something like that, yeah, it's a lot. And then like you were saying, you were what trying to make it a 30 minute at the
Well, I'm
time.
at my rewrite would be 30 minutes. Right now
Okay,
it's 25 minutes, but my rewrite I did one the first draft, did a rewrite. Now I'm doing another rewrite to exemplify the story more in depth. So I think I ended up about 30 minutes, right? One act. So you got three acts in the film. I'm gonna try to do one act and then go from there, right? I
but
really would like to get into a feature,
yeah,
but I mean, that is gonna kill. That's gonna kill me. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, I mean, when you first started doing this, were you trying to make it just a teaser to take and start finding
Well,
funding to expand on, or what?
right. I wanted to make a really, really high end promo, which I didn't get done, and I'm pissed about that because I say because of the COVID and then I don't want to call it being burnt out or being mentally just like overwhelmed or whatever. Again, I keep things 100, and that's just the way I am. But I never did give up on the project. I just need to I take a break
Break.
from
Yeah.
right, and now I feel like now I'm ready. I've been away from this for 3 years now, 2, 3 years. I'm ready. This is old. This is not even my new animation. This is like I'm working on some other stuff that people don't even know about. Stuff in my soup. She knows a little bit about it, but I want to go back to this uh, when the funding is there and I really have everything in place. I had a company called. Do you have a company? The company called Third Floor.
Yeah. Third floor. Yeah.
I had a guy from Third Floor reach out to me and said, Antoine, we would love to do your previs for EX140. And I'm like, okay, how much it costs? I'm like, I'll just do it myself. See, I just,
Always comes down to budget, baby. How much is it gonna cost me?
I'm saying, so I'm like, yo. So I'm like, it's cheaper for me to do it myself, but I'm like, these guys are amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, for them to do I do the animatic, the storyboard animatic, and then take them and implement the previous animatic on top of that, and then I would get a whole cut of my film, and then I would edit it from there,
Yeah.
and then I would go from there before I go into production. But It's just difficult, but I'm used to challenges. I got to figure out a way to get this done. A lot of people are expecting me to get this done. I mean, I don't want to be a dude that talk and don't come through. So I got to
Yeah.
figure out a way. I got
Well,
to figure out a way to get it done.
well, do you think it's easier now to get people such as, other companies and your friends on board to help you with this now as it was before?
I did it because I've been on my company about 4 or 5 months now, and I don't want to expose to my um, berate my soups about, hey, I want to focus on what I'm doing at work instead of this. But yeah, we have some super talented people that would be tremendous to come on this and help me round this off, right? And because you need to, what I learned through that as director, because I really wouldn't be doing a lot of the animation for this. I'd be directing and
Directing it.
delegating.
Yeah.
Uh, because at the time I really was big on trying to be a director. Um, but I would just be delegating tasks and putting really high level people in position to make this thing look freaking good. And that way I can just concentrate on the story and get this thing to the next level in terms of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's how I looked at it. But at the time I was like, you only know what you know, right? Like I'm like, I gotta get this started. Let me just do it. And you don't want to rely on people like, hey, come do this for free or come do
Yeah.
this,
Yeah. Yeah.
let me, what I mean? Like, so I want to approach it to where I got a nice budget, you know, I got some investors behind it. You can talk about it and there's real money on it, right? And let's make it. Shorts tend to be a little bit of a problem for people to invest a lot of money into it because it's a short. But I think if you go a feature route, investors are a little bit more interested because features bring more
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
But this was just a means to an end to show that what I could do, directing wise and story wise, and then just bring in high level people to take it to the next.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Well,
I know God. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Don.
no, I was gonna say if this is any indication, like you said, the story is changing and iterating, it's gonna be amazing because, like I said, just the action of it and just the pace of it, like I said, is what caught me initially.
Hey, the people who sign NDAs and they know who they are. Um, this, hopefully they honoring that. The story is amazing. I want to tell you, but I just
Well, hey, we'll have you back. Like I said, it's another reason to have you back. So I'm not worried about it. Like I said, I know, uh, what you're doing now is amazing work, and can't wait to have you back on when it's released and out to have you come back and just officially, unaffraidly be ready to talk about it. And
yeah.
everybody seems to agree for sure, Mario. It feels like it does, which I probably
Oh,
could go into a video game kind of thing too as well.
come on, man. Don't get me started on games. I'm not trying to ruin no connections here, but like, I don't play games. I watch films. You know,
Oh man, you said the sound was good. I'm glad it came up. Glad it came across okay. Because like I said, I do know the way I had to do it is never the audio is never quite as crisp and good and rich as if I have the actual the file for it. Mr. Demille, great work. I knew it is. Like I said, so the especially if you're hand animating and keying all of that stuff. I don't know if you use motion capture or
time I wasn't, but for the newer pass on this, I would get head cams
yeah,
and scans, and then kind of like what they did in Avatar. Of course, I have to pay for this, and then I would use mocap for the body for vanilla run cycles or vanilla um, stuff that you can just use. They have a tool called Studio Lib or Studio Library where you can just record this
yeah,
stuff, reuse this animation over and over. But hero shots, no, I would love to just have those be hand animated. But like for the face, because there's so many muscles in the face and stuff, like it's so complex. But it'd be nice to have that stuff retargeted so like, you really can get accurate
yeah,
expressions and
accurate
stuff.
motion on it.
Even if I had to do that hand key, my dream was to just do the whole thing hand key. Like that was my dream. But
Yeah,
I'm coming to the point, which leads me segue into like, I know some people are gonna kill me on this, but like, if there was a way to implement AI with like my new approach to this, as far as like, I'm not saying I'm falling for this. I'm just saying I'm trying to figure out how to use this tool that'll
I'm
help us.
just playing with it as a tool. Like I said, I have no problem with AI as a tool because I look at it as a tool, you know.
Yeah,
And I've said this before. My only thing is where I kind of fall on the other side of AI is you get those people that don't use it, as a tool. They just use it straight out of there and okay, this is what I created. If you're using it as ideation or as something that makes your process a little easier as a tool, AI. Hey, I love Photoshop, and I couldn't do without Photoshop's, or Adobe's AI, Sensei AI. It makes your job easier.
yeah,
Like I said, the only thing I kind of fall on the other side is with you got some people that just, like I said, they just take it and okay, here, sell it. And just it's just something that comes off of the internet straight, and they sell it, and they're calling themselves a writer or
yeah.
artist or whatever. And it's like, no, you just typed in what you wanted, and the computer spit it out for you.
But
And
you know,
it's taking, I mean, cut off, and it's like I said, it's still early, so they're still having to work out like rights and stuff. Because I feel like as far as art goes, it's scraping the internet and that art from somewhere and piecing it and mashing it together.
mm-hmm.
So as it till they get the kind of legalities worked out, I think it's still in this kind of wild west kind of
Yeah,
place.
exactly. And it's certain sites, certain ones are ethical, some are not ethical. I think it needs to be regulated. So I'm not saying I would go this route. I'm just saying it's just something I've been thinking about, like in terms of if I reboot this in the next couple of years, like how can I use this new tech to help me get what I to achieve this results that I want to achieve with this. So I'm not saying I might even use this or not, but I'm just thinking off the top of
It's
my
a
head.
tool, and like I said, as a tool that a creative can use to, like I said, aid them. It's a great AI is that's what it's made for, I think. But like I said, like any tool, like a gun or a knife or anything, there are going to be people that use it the wrong way, and
Yeah,
use it the way it wasn't intended to be created for. That's all I'm
exactly,
saying. I don't
exactly.
have a thing against AI. I love AI myself.
I ain't gonna say I love it, but I just
I think it has
I,
great
I
potential.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think it has. I say love it in the sense that I think it has great potential to aid a creator. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Miss Heather Givens, brilliant artistry from a brilliant mind. I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. So that's why I'm
Yeah,
super excited to have him back on once it's done, and really out there, and just all the other ideas because I'm sure you got a ton of other ideas that you want to create as well,
oh
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I'm not even working on this right now. I'm working on something completely different that I want to reboot. I'm not gonna say what that is. Maybe next time if you have me on the show, hopefully I'll have it done. But um, but yeah, getting back to the tech, I want to take a different approach. I want to get the whole film mapped out so I can look at it, look at my cut, make my changes, and then before I go into production, I want to have all that stuff solid, right? So that we can move towards animation, rendering, compositing, all this stuff, and just
Yeah.
get this thing done because I like to get it done, get it done before I leave this earth. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, it's a good thing, but ultimately, I think the fun is in the journey and what you create. I mean, you'd love to get it out, but just the fact that you're still taking the journey and learning along the way is you know kudos enough because some people don't even do that. I mean, they just talk about it and not even put it into practice. So you're
That's
putting it
true.
in practice. Miss Melina, daughter is proud, looks amazing. Proud of you, Papa.
I love
Proud
her,
of
man.
you, for
That's,
sure.
I tell her this every day. I'm doing this for her, man. You know what I mean? So she don't think
Yes.
I'm a. Uh, you know your daughter looking like you a scrub. Oh, no, I'm silly,
Oh
dog.
man, we're having fun. Everybody's just joining us. Like I said, we've been having some fun, along with some technical difficulties on my end there. But I can't thank enough, I guess, and Fred Antoine Cunningham. Are you starting to see? Well, let me ask this question before, because you said you wrote it and you're directing it. Was writing something that you kind of had to develop along the way, or was that also something that you were doing when you were younger, just writing your own stories and things like that?
I had to become a better writer as I went along. You know, I sucked when I was in high school. I sucked when I was in, I don't know, like I was just terrible. And then I practiced and practiced, understanding, how to properly structure a sentence. You know what I mean? You know, your punctuation, all this basic stuff. It took me a long time. And writing is very brutal. Like it's not like the way I write is like I want to bring you into the world. Like you're not just reading this like novelist kind of writing where you're just like, oh, this kind of fantasy, the wind is blowing here. Like, no, I want you to feel and breathe the atmosphere. So that's kind of how I write. Very visual. And scripts
Yeah,
tend, well, I don't know, not all scripts, but the good ones to me tend to be visual, right? When you read it, you're like, well, I can really see that through some words. So it took me a lot of years to become a better writer. I still think I need to get better, but I'm good enough to get a film shot from it, right? And just keep getting better as I go. You know what I mean? Because writing is rewriting, right? Like you write
yeah,
something that sounds stupid. Let me rewrite this again 50 billion times. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Research. That doesn't work. You know, let me cut that out. That affects one something else. You know, so if you write Act One, you know when you get to Act Three, all the stuff that you wrote in
It said this doesn't fit.
you know what I mean? In order to correspond to everything, foreshadowing, all these techniques that you need to add to make a solid story. Your subplot, does it intertwine with your main plot? All this stuff is very complex. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will say EX140 is a great story, and it's I
Does
mean
the
anyway,
does the title have a meaning? I mean, or
yes,
is that getting into the plot of the?
I can say that it has a meaning.
Okay,
It's incorporated in the meaning into the story, but yeah, it's definitely everything is intertwined with this whole journey that this woman is going through. So,
gotcha, gotcha.
but yeah,
Yeah,
I digress on that.
yeah, he'll digress on that. And no, I definitely feel. Cause I'm trying to get better at my writing chops as well. Because, like I said, I have ideas. It's just I'm not a writer. So how do you put that idea in a cohesive story and
exactly,
make it make sense, but make people really come into the story and really feel the characters? So
exactly,
I'm
exactly.
working on it, people. I'm working on it. Hopefully, you'll see my piece out there someday before I go
Synopsis,
underneath the ground.
log line, synopsis, 3 bits. That's how you get to those growing pains. If that log line doesn't work, you know you ain't got no film. You're like,
Oh
okay,
man, oh man, I gotta get to the log line. So, Mr. No Parkin, I appreciate you tuning in for sure. Like I said, I appreciate everybody that's been jumping in after our little technical difficulty there, but we've been having some amazing fun. Uh, are you starting to see um, more blacks and people of color start to come into the industry?
I knew it was coming.
Yeah,
Um,
it's coming.
yeah, no,
God damn it. That's the name of the show, Color Emotion.
this sidebar, off the record conversation. Listen, no, it's coming, and Spider Verse was amazing. I thought it was an amazing film. I loved it. Actually, that is one animated film I watched. I watched Spider Verse. Sorry, um, but as far as corporate America and companies and stuff like that, I mean, we need to see more. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Upper echelon positions. You know, my soup aisle is great. It just amazes me to see how he carries himself in that position in terms of how much pressure he has on him, right? to get these things delivered and get the show delivered and stuff like that. So I just admire people of color that's in those positions, and because it's hard. Again, not being a victim, but it's hard to get to that level. So I just admire when you see that, but it does need to be more in these companies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
also I
no,
don't use
man.
that. I don't use that as a victim, as we talked about. Like I'm like, look, if you want it and you got the skills, you go at it hard, you do
Yeah.
great work. I think people will reward you, right? Like so, I think we just got to get our mind. It's all between the ears and not being woe is me, kind of just go in there and take it. You know what I mean? Go in there and work hard, work your
Yeah.
way up. And it sounds simple, but it's true. You know what I'm saying? And stop using things in the past to block you from, stay focused on what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stop looking at this as like everybody's against you or something. Like, just like, people just trying to make cool stuff. You know what I mean? Yes, we need more people of color in there. Let's work on that. You can't change the world, but you can do it individually, right? So if I take one little kid and give him some material to show him how to be a better animator, I'm helping just on that little minuscule level, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
helping him get him in the industry and things like that. So, but uh, to answer your question, as far as corporate America, yeah, it'd be nice to see more VPs, more black VPs, and more Asian VPs, more people in these high positions running these really important positions with these companies and stuff. You're 100% right.
Yeah. Well, I always said that it was kind of. I felt like it was a kind of three-way, you know, way that it was going to get changed. One from the top down in the company. Two from the bottom up from the actual, you know, creators, animators, artists, and things like that. Which it is growing. Um, and two from the side from these companies that are minority. I'm excited about the people of color that are starting their own companies and really partnering with companies like Disney and companies like Nickelodeon to create content that speaks to who they are as a culture. Like I said, I've had Carlos Gaxiola has he's a Latino in Mexico that has a amazing company animation studio, and he does a lot of stuff for Nickelodeon. You got Lion Forge, Carl Reed and his company creating stuff. So I also see a lot of change coming from those independent companies that are starting to say, "Hey, we're not gonna just solely wait on Disney to create this or Nickelodeon to create this. We're gonna create our own companies and start building our own IPs or finding these artists that are out there, that have ideas and things, and putting the money in the backing behind them."
And I think it's more people look at it from a very linear level, right? I think it's more um, economic growth and wealth uh, obtainment, right? Meaning that if you provide knowledge, then this person is able to gain wealth and knowledge that then can be spread to further to somebody who's starting the business. So if you gain a bunch of money with success with opening up your company, now you can sink that money back into somebody who's starting their business, and this cycle continues, right? So
Yeah,
I think particularly because I'm Afro American, you know I'm speaking from that point of view. Is that like starting black businesses, taking the money when you get to a certain level, and then helping people circulate their businesses so they can keep going. And I think where we lack is the poverty and wealth gap. I think is really an issue when it comes to race. Like, so if I'm a dude down here that's struggling and robbing banks, I mean not banks, but robbing liquor stores and all this, I ain't got nothing to look for. But if I'm
yeah,
running a high level company, I got something to look for. That's a lot for me to lose, right?
yeah,
So like we got to get our people up into a mentality like that where you're trying to be running companies and thinking about leadership aspects. And I think it starts with the wealth gap. I mean, there's a
yeah,
big, huge disparity between the wealth gap. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Uh,
And coming back into the community, I think you get so many that, and in a lot of different areas, that suddenly get wealth and move out of the community and don't give back into the community to really fuel others and inspire others to, like I said, it's not a handout, it's a hand up,
Yes,
to help others see the potential of what they can do.
I agree.
Uh,
And you don't have to stay there in the hood, but I mean, you can move out as long as you're contributing to businesses that's in there. Nipsey Hussle was trying to do that and he got killed, unfortunately. But I think that's a start, some way of getting these small businesses up and running. If you're at that level, financial level, to do that, right? A lot of people are not, but I'm just saying, I think the wealth gap is a real big problem when people talking about racism and biases and all this stuff. I think we're really talking about a wealth gap at this stage, because I'm gonna tell you straight up, and I keep it real, Don, and I tell us, like, ain't nobody coming in here in my house with shackles with a noose telling me you can't be great. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody coming to my house doing that. So I'm not playing the victim. I'm going after it. So like this that whole mentality, like, yo, you gotta go after it, connect with the right people, get your mind right, have a skill set, something that you can sell and somebody can profit off of, and then take that money and circulate it. So I think it's a big wealth gap issue. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get this money. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But still understanding your history.
yeah.
Understanding how history was built, how this country was founded, and the principles that it was founded on, Jim Crow, all this stuff. It really wasn't for us. But I don't think you should use it. I think you should understand it, but I don't think you should use it as a negative way of like, oh, I can't be successful in my
Oh
life.
yeah, no, I agree. You can't use it as an excuse. You just have to learn to navigate it, and I think in learning to navigate it, you can still be successful, still help other people. It takes, I think, like I said, in it as a minority owned business, I think, or as a culture, it's going to take us being proactive about supporting each other. I think that's been the big issue in a lot of different. We're afraid to support each other or go out of our way to support each other as a black person or as a black owned business or this and that. That's why you got like it's hard for a small mom and pop, say black grocery store to survive when you got HEB, all these other big, grocery stores that it's more convenient to get to. So if somebody wants to support a black owned company or a black owned business, they got to really be proactive about going out of their way to support a business, a black owned business or a minority owned business. It's easier. You find it a little easier in other cultures. Like I don't think that. And what do they say? Um, for like blacks, the dollar stays in the black community about an hour before it goes out of the black community. It's not very long. We're the lowest, but
Wow.
say like Asian American stays in their community a lot longer before it goes out of the community, and they
Yeah.
support each other's businesses. It's just
Right.
as a culture we have to learn to support each other. I think that's the big key of where we're going to find this kind of success, because you can go back through and this isn't meant to be a history lesson, people, or anything like that, because I'm not a history teacher, but I know there was Black Wall Street. And before Jim Crow, black
Enjoyed that.
businesses, we were only able to patronize black businesses. So black businesses were actually more profitable than a lot of white businesses back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in, the six, the 1880s and when slavery was, because we had no other choice but to support each other. It
Yeah.
wasn't until, and I think a lot of people may say it wasn't until we got integrated where we kind of just drifted apart, and it started in really becoming this economic disparity. Now there's some people that I won't say conspiracy theory or anything like that, but there are some people that said that was intentional because
Mm.
we were making money back then. So in order to keep the dollars and keep the control, okay, let's integrate. we're the ones that have all the money and have the biggest resources as far as industry and businesses. So the dollars have to come to us.
Yeah.
So I think it's all that to be said is I think where we'll start to see big change is supporting each other. As a black filmmaker, supporting the film, going to support the film. That like I said, it makes it easier and more better that more films are going to come out. You know, Black Panther did amazing, so people now feel like okay, studios start to see okay we they can make money off of an all black primarily black production, black director, black actors, black writer, all of that. We make
Yeah.
money. So, but that was because we came out and we supported it and just
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what makes it big. If we support one another in the things that we do, then I think it makes it easier for all of us to collectively start to grow and start to give back and start to see other people that are creating, great ideas and great things that we can get behind and put out there.
No,
Um,
no. You hit it all on the head right there. That sums it up. I mean, it's, I just think it's a economic and economic growth issue. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because like once you're in the club, you're in the club. But it's like you can still be in the club and still be kind of looked at kind of funny,
Oh
right?
yeah, that's what I said. It doesn't matter. Truthfully, like I said, and I'm pretty sure, and we've seen examples of it. Wealthy people. There are a lot of famous wealthy people that have gotten, discriminated against or have had an incident. I don't. It's that's just the nature. Your money doesn't exempt you from that, and
Exactly.
we all know that. So it's not a matter of getting in the club and the club doesn't accept you um, because, like I said, there's your money, your dollars aren't gonna save you from racism that may or may not be happening in a place. You're still gonna
Yeah.
experience it. You're still
Yeah.
gonna. I think every famous person they still have those feelings of if a police car comes behind them and they're a black man, they feel it. They feel it in
Oh yeah.
some kind of way.
You feel it, but again, I respect the law, right? So I know he has a gun that can kill me, right? So if I'm not gonna get out of the car and do something stupid and have another weapon in the car, and he tell me put my hands on the dashboard, but I got my hands on my knees or I got my hands somewhere else, or I'm reaching for something, you asking to get shot. So I'm saying you can still comply and still get
Oh
killed.
yeah, you can still comply, still do everything legally, like so many have. Like there's a lot of them that have. They haven't done anything wrong. They comply, but you don't know whether that person, that officer, and again, I I know they're good policemen, but I also know that there are bad ones. You don't know what
You
kind of day they may have had, whether
got a
they're in a
bad
bad mood, whether they're
exactly.
just racist as all get out. You don't know whether they're not racist but had a bad day or what. You
Yeah,
just taking it for granted, but that there are certain things that you can't do that somebody else could get away with, or talk to a cop. And like I said, we were raised how this is how you act when you get pulled over. You don't make any sudden moves. All that stuff. I think every black person, or especially every black male, was taught that by their parents.
yeah,
This is how you act. So you just
yeah,
know that you're looked at differently. For the
yeah.
most part, you're looked at differently, and you could pay the consequences for that, depending
But
on who pulls you over.
right. But I had experiences too where you have good cops, and if you're respectful, like I try to be respectful of people in this industry, especially in this art industry. You don't. I mean, it could be there. I don't really feel it like that. You know what I'm saying? But because people just looking at your art and they're like, "Oh, this person's great," then hire them, whatever. But on the street or just regular life, um, I think you need to like. I'm not saying I'm crazy about cops, but I'm saying I respect what they do
Yeah,
and I
you
respect.
respect the position that they're
Right,
in.
right. But I also know that, like you just said, if he comes and he's having a bad day, like I don't know what's up with that. You know what I'm saying? But all I can do is comply, and yes sir, no sir. and we're good. Hopefully, I go home safely. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also not living my life walking outside thinking about this every day. Every time I get in my car and drive, that some cop is gonna come over and shoot me in the head. I'm
Oh
also
yeah,
not thinking.
no, you can't think that. No, you can't
You
think
know,
that.
and it's victim thinking the victim mentality. I'm not. I don't think about that. Maybe that's naivety. I don't know, but I'm not consciously walking out like some cop about to shoot me today. I mean, it could happen. I'm just saying I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah,
You know
you're
what I mean?
not letting that consume you to the point where, like I said, you're not achieving the things that you want to achieve, or
Right.
moving forward in your life. Um, which again, like I said, is why I appreciate the fact that you're constantly feeding yourself with positivity, motivation, the things to achieve. And I'm a big believer is everybody's got the capability to create whatever life they want, they so envision. Everybody's got that. Everybody's got the power to do it. Now, whether you exercise that power, that's a different thing, but we all have the ability to achieve the dreams that we have in our head. We just have to manifest those dreams. And unfortunately, there's 97% of the people don't. They live a life that somebody else is, they've accepted somebody else has written their story and written their life, or they're not willing to go past the pain of the failures. I tell people your success is just on the other side of failure and fear. And if you're not willing to go past that, you're not gonna succeed. If you're not willing to go past that fear and that failure, then you're not gonna be successful. Now we
I
all
feel
see the ones that have, the
exactly.
Thomas Edisons, the people that invent things, the people that create things. They know they're gonna fail, but they have a passion for what they're trying to achieve that takes them past that failure, that takes them past that fear of what other people think. Oh, he's crazy for thinking that we can live in we could have automobiles. Ford was crazy before, yeah, I mean, you think about it. If you're a person living during the horse and buggy time and somebody comes along and says, yeah, I think everybody could be owning cars, or we could have an automobile to get us from point A to point B. Even the train, the locomotive, it's a big shift if you're a person that feels that this is something that I can create, or the Wright brothers, we could fly, you know. We
Yeah,
have
you
that
gotta.
too.
Yeah, I'm like that too. I'm like I never let nobody. I mean, I fail every day, all the time, and it irks me, right? But those are the good moments. Those are the moments where you learn the most. You're like, okay, now I know how to do this and do it effectively next time, or do it differently. But a lot of people are scared to fail. Like I'm not afraid to get out there and fall on my face. Like it's what it is. I'm not
Yeah,
afraid of it, right?
yeah.
If you're scared, you're done. You're finished. You know what I mean? So you hit it
Yeah.
right on the head. You
And I
have to
think we
be.
live in an amazing time now as a creator. Like you were saying before when you first came into Disney. Think about, you know, and I was the same way. Like when I was came into art and production, everything was manual. You had to shoot boards, paste up boards, and all of that kind of stuff.
All
Now we
stuff.
have computers, we have the internet, we have so much stuff that it's just so much better for the creator. What do you think about just the tools that are available now? You got Blender, you got Unreal, you got all these tools and channels.
Amazing, amazing. I love it. And the program I'm learning now, hopefully, God forbid, I can learn this. It's freaking, so freaking hard. Is Houdini is one of the best programs on the market. It's freaking insane. I'm like, can I please learn this shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, hey, I
I'm
haven't even
just
gotten to Maya. Like I said, I'm hadn't even don't touched Maya. So it's like I said, there's so much information, so much.
You think Maya's hard compared to Houdini? Get
Oh
into
no,
Houdini.
I know Houdini is just way harder, to learn. And
Ops and operators and all that. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. But it's
um,
it's once you start understanding it simplifies. But Um, I think it's one of the hardest 3D programs to learn, and it's one of the best. And I personally want to learn it for my personal projects, just to get good at it. You know what I mean? Not necessarily to work for somebody, but just to be like, hey, I know how to efficiently use this program effectively, right?
Yeah,
Um, but Maya, I've been, I think Maya, Blender, Houdini,
there's some great programs. Like I said, just amazing programs out there. I've even seen, and it was funny because he was on my show a couple of months ago. Did a animator from Trinidad. Did an amazing animating. He did that in Photoshop. I was like blown away. I was like,
wow,
wow. I mean, I always knew you could animate in Photoshop, and it's not an animation tool. By I mean, it's not. That's not their you know
right, not their
one trick
forte.
pony. But it just showed me that tool in the hand of a good creative, that any tool in the hand of a good creative, they're going to come up with some amazing stuff, even though it's not intended for that. You can do some amazing stuff. That's why I love this time as a creator. And you know I'm kind of dating myself, and you can easily tell by the gray hairs in my chin. Like I
I
said,
got
I'm
these.
you're doing way better than me.
You can't see them much. They coming.
Oh man, but it amazes me now that I'm really fortunate that grew up and was born in the time that I was, because it gives me such an appreciation for what we have now and the tools we have now. And kids, it just amazes me now. Kids now, they come out the womb knowing how to work an iPhone and an iPad. It seems like.
Right? You get a little kid, little baby,
Yeah, they know how to work it. It's like, oh man.
on it. You know what I mean? It's
So,
amazing.
Mr. Mario, I appreciate you. Yeah, collaboration is really needed across continents too, between people. And I will give, like I said, I will give Disney kudos for that. They're doing a lot of stuff with studios over in Africa now. You know,
That's good.
and I've had a lot of African creators on the show, and the industry is really growing. So I'm encouraged about the stories, and the creators that are starting to really come up over there and really show up, uh, show us over here what creators of color and of the continent over there can really create in the stories, because the stories are so rich. They have a lot of stories to tell. So I'm glad studios like Disney and other studios now are really starting to go into these countries like I said, Africa, Jamaica, Trinidad, and some of these other places to really give access to the creators over there.
Yeah, I want to go to Africa. I just wonder how many damn shots I got to take before I go over there.
Yeah, you should. You have to ask. Like I said, like get my last guest, Darnell. He was over in South Africa for a while. I had to ask him how many shots he had to
Like
take. It might have been
shot,
less.
13 shots or something like that.
I'm not sure, but I know he lived over in South Africa for a while. Um, yeah, and I tell all my guests that I have on from Africa, that's definitely on my bucket list to go over and visit. So that's another plus of why I love doing the show. Now I got people to show me around and visit when I go over there.
Yeah.
So I'm so looking
I would,
forward.
I would love to see the motherland before I leave, man. Leave this
Yeah,
earth. I would go see it. You know what I mean?
I, I think they say that should be a must for every black. But I know every black doesn't want to go over to Africa.
I also
I
want to
do.
go. You also want to go to Rome and Italy and all these other
Yeah, I
places.
mean they want to go over there before they go over to Africa for some reason. But I've always wanted to go visit Africa. Yeah, for sure. It's the no parking. Yeah, that's a kind of large there. He is a Photoshop user as well, using it for animation. So, like I said, I could appreciate anybody that uses the tool, and I think that goes into AI. Like I said, it's just a tool, and a tool in the hands of a creator can really make some amazing things. So that's why I don't really have a big issue with AI because in the end, I think it's a tool. And if you're a true creator, you'll figure out a way to use that tool to help you create whatever it is that you're creating.
Yeah, and it is. I don't think it's still quite there with like hands and things like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Like,
no, I've seen it's still working on the hands because everyone I've seen has like 6 fingers. So
yeah, it's not quite good with that. Yeah, there's a lot of flaws in it, but I think that moving forward, as far as us with technology, like this is not going anywhere. Okay,
no, it's not. It's not. It's not going anywhere. So that's why I say, as a creator, you should learn to use it to aid you in your creation.
yeah.
For sure. Um, your what's been kind of your biggest challenge over your journey to this point? You're over the at this point in stage where you're at. What's been kind of the biggest your biggest challenge?
Personally or career wise,
Well, it could be career or personally, or it could tie into that. Um,
being a better
not
father.
okay. Has it been and I'll kind of tie that into, the what you do. Do you feel like what you do has it aided or hindered you? Because like you said, it is a lot of time and a lot of hours that you spend doing work. And as a creator, we tend to be in our kind of own little bubble of what we're doing.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Don. I think when I was first married, and I told my daughter that, and I think Heather knows this too. I was very good father in terms of taking care of my family, but I was very neglectful in terms of being a father and spending time with them like a father should, right? Not just cutting the check and paying for bills and
Yeah,
but really spending time as a family and um, being a father, like what a father is. And I think maybe because my father wasn't around, I didn't really understand that what it meant to be a man
yeah,
and really be a father. And now that I'm at the age I am, I have appreciation for that now. Like if I had the knowledge that I had 25 years ago, I'd probably be the greatest dad ever. But I didn't because I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about running the streets, women, um, whatever. I'm not gonna get all like that on
yeah,
that, but
yeah. Just typical stuff, hanging out, whatever it is, just typical stuff.
party women. I mean, one week I dated like 15 women and like whole weekend, just silly stuff, man. You know what I mean? Like I mean, I was still working, concentrating on my skill set, but I wasn't really focused like I am now. Like
Yeah,
really focus on being a better dad and being better at this craft and really because you throw out the nonsense, right? Like when you're younger you're like, oh, I got time. Now when you realize time is running short, you better start making some moves, right? You better
yeah,
start getting good at making some moves and focusing on things that really matter. So I just think at the time I was very neglectful. I was a good person and a good father, but just neglectful with my time, right? And it used to frustrate my wife because she wanted to spend time and do things together. And I'm like, no, I need to work. I need to
yeah,
get better.
yeah.
Like it's a weekend. You want
It's
to get out with your family. She like, I want to sit in the house and work. You know what I mean?
no, and trust me, I go through the kind of same challenge, and I think every creator does. If you have, I'm not married and I don't have kids, but just wanting to, knowing you want to be in a relationship or have a relationship, you have to balance that time because that person wants your time. But on the other side is you're trying to create something. You're trying to, if you're a business owner, you're trying to build a business, whatever it may be. As an artist, like you said, we kind of spend our time in this kind of creative bubble type of thing. So it's balancing that or finding a balance of time of giving time to the ones that want your time, your kids, your wife. All they do, they want your time. It's not just enough to pay the bills and like you said, just make sure everything is paid for. But how do you give time to the ones that you love and still give time to the things that you love creatively and what you're doing as a work. It's always a constant thing you try to find this balance of, and I'm struggling with that myself because, like you said, you want to be in a relationship, but you know that if you do, there's a certain amount of time you got to give, but you also know that you're trying to build a business, you're trying to do this show. If I was doing it, I have to give time to that as well. So it's crucial to find. I know it's crucial to find somebody that kind of understands that. Do you think? And I don't know if your wife is in the industry or is in something totally different.
I'm not married, right?
Oh, oh,
Not
oh, oh, oh. Or okay, well, just say, do you?
5 years ago.
Well, let's just take it back then. Your
I ain't
was she
married.
was she was she your girlfriend or were you married?
Yeah, years ago, yes.
Okay, so do you think it was she in the industry or was she not in the industry?
She was in the industry, but we all worked at Disney together. She worked in the parks, and I worked for the company doing animation and stuff like that. But
Okay, so
we,
she was at least familiar with what you did and that stuff.
I
Moving,
was, I, I was very, as you put it, as far as what I can remember at that time, I just was very selfish,
yeah,
like with my time. You know what I mean? And I feel like I could have been better father in that regard. You know what I mean? We had a new baby on the way, and it was just, I didn't know how to put this stuff down. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, and it's just like you can't really be that when you got a family. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you work all week, and now you on the weekend, now you still
It's
working.
still
You know what I mean?
working, man. Aren't you gonna get up from that computer or what?
Oh, they didn't have no computers back then, but I'm just saying,
Oh man. Nah. Well,
it was
speaking
this.
now, speaking now, if you met somebody and got married or was dating somebody, would you want them to be in the industry or would you want them to at least have an understanding of knowledge? Would it be easier for you to say, okay, I know somebody that
Man, you
is
trying to get me in trouble right now, man.
just you know yeah. And this is
Stop it.
not for any future people that that he made it. This is not just like a request or anything, but I'm just asking because I think about that as far as like if I was to date somebody, I would at least want them to
Yeah.
have an understanding of a person. It takes a different kind of person to be, say, the wife of or the husband of a business owner or somebody creative or somebody that's trying to build something or create something and they're not doing it as well. So that's
Well,
what I mean. If they were the type that wasn't I'm trying to make sure I say this right or get it across right. Would it be easier to have somebody that at least has an understanding and is willing to accept that there's a certain portion of your life that is just time that
yeah, maybe. I mean, a lot of people date people in the industry and they end up marrying them. I think that's valid, right? Maybe you might, you know what I mean? But I have a wonderful girlfriend now that's very patient with my. But actually, I'm better with my time now
yeah
than I was back then. But she's very patient with understanding my goals and what I'm trying to do. So it depends on the person on how they value and how they look at you and what you're trying to do, right? If they're really supportive, they might understand that, right? But at the same time, you need it's a give and take. You
yeah
can't be taking advantage of that and being like, oh, it's a Saturday. Why am I sitting up in the house working? I can go out and spend some time with you or do something. So it's like, but I do think to answer your question, some people say it's a little easier to date somebody that's already in the industry because you kind of already connected with doing work. She understands where she's got work to do and you got work to do. So you kind of understand it and y'all spend time when y'all can. But I think it can work for people that's not in the industry. It's just depending on it's an individual basis, right? Like the person really understands you. They understand you got to get shit done today, right?
yeah yeah,
They let you do that, but you still got to be considerate to be like, okay, maybe I'm taking advantage of her time, her feelings and emotion right now. Maybe I need to pull back and spend some time with her. So a give and take. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I didn't know how to do that back then. I was very like, it's either my way or the highway when it came to that. And that was very frustrating. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
uh,
Mr. Mario, that's great. No parking. We should probably connect. He wants to connect, Dewan, LinkedIn. I'd like to see some of work. He,
send me a friend request. I'll accept
uh,
it.
Mario, he does some great work for sure. Where is and as we like I said, for everybody, let me jump back again. Everybody that's just jumping in and been jumping in, we've been having a fun conversation with my friend Antoine, lead animator here. And I appreciate again everybody that's kind of stuck with me today through the technical difficulties that we have had. But it's been a great episode for sure. I would like to kind of close out and ask you this. Um, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what would be the one piece of advice that you would tell yourself?
Damn, man, you be killing me. Uh,
I know Antoine said, "Damn it, you should have sent me these questions beforehand, man."
I don't have notes. I'm looking at the notes. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to find that note. I knew you was probably gonna answer this. Um,
Not
man,
that
that's a
you
good.
would change anything drastically, but I mean, just advice that you would kind of give your younger self. Not like
Or
stock
even
tips or
a young person, right? Like, well, can I relate it to? No, you said back in the past. Um, I would say, well, number one, save your money, right? Pay your taxes, invest. Um, this is personal stuff, right?
yeah,
Um, uh, number one, save your money. Uh, even though the bank invests your money, they spend it anyway. But make sure you're smart about your cash flow, right? Um, that's personally. And as far as career wise and working with people, always have a good attitude. Always be a team player. And I wrote it down here real quick. Let me just see if I can write. Oh, yeah, I found it. Um, keep focused, be on time, pay attention, and work hard. Is not my quotes. This was actually from somebody else, but those are one of the four things that can lead to success. Right? You come into the office, you know, don't talk too much, pay attention, you know, uh, be on time, always be on time, always work hard, and be attentive. I think you'll be all right, and be a team player. I think you'll be able to last long in this business. So um, I don't know if that answers your question, but
no, it
that's
does. It does. And like I said, that is um, amazing advice. Would you like to drop a bomb on amazing advice?
I love when you do that.
Hey, those golden nuggets, you got to drop a bomb. Get people's attention.
Yeah,
So I hope everybody caught that for sure. One thing I have learned through just the people that I've connected with and just kind of uh, starting to kind of get more familiar with the industry. It's a small industry in the
yes,
sense
sir.
that everybody seems to know each other, have gone to school with one another, or worked at this studio with this person or that studio, and a bad rap really follows you, you know, from place to place. So their thing is you could be the most talented person in the world. If you got a bad attitude or just is hard to work with, they're not gonna want to be. They're not gonna want you in the studio. So
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, real quick, I went through a phase where I was like that. Again, I keep it 100, right? I'm the kind of person I tell the truth. Um, I went through a phase where I was like that, right? And I was like, just irritable and unhappy with everything, right? And it made everybody else unhappy. But I learned through, and we talking years and years ago, but I learned through being a pro's pro that you don't do that, right? You don't you leave your work at work, and then you leave your home at home. You come to work and you perform on a pro level.
Yeah.
And this took me a long time to get to. Again, it comes with age, right? As you get older, you start realizing these things, right? But yeah, that's very important, having a great attitude and not causing being a toxic kind of individual or toxic person. Like you just want to be cool with people, and people just like working around you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
because
Work.
stuff does travel, it does travel, and people talk. You know what I mean? So, and we're not all perfect, right? So, like, I'm just the kind of
No.
person. A lot of people will get on here and bullshit and be like, "Oh, I ain't never did nothing like you bullshit." You know what I'm saying? Like,
You heard it
you've
from
been
you guys heard it from Antoine. Y'all bullshit.
you've been toxic at one point. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like, you know,
have. Oh, trust me. I agree. Like I said, I've had my moments, and I have to, like I said, constantly remind myself that one, it doesn't serve anything, and it definitely
right,
doesn't serve you. But two, like I said, it promotes a great work culture where you'll go a lot farther. You'll make a
right,
lot more connections. You'll make a lot more relationships if you're just
yeah,
true and genuine. Now that doesn't mean, like I said, not expressing your opinion in a, a
in a respectful manner, yeah,
respectful, dignified way. But it's
yeah,
just
exactly.
being. I'm not trying to be an asshole, or I'm not trying to be malicious or anything like that.
Dude,
I
I was
feel.
at a before. I mean, Herne Hill, man. I mean, I just think it's a fantastic place. I come in there, man. It's like I love going to work. You know what I'm saying? It's challenging. You know, it's good, hard work. But like, attitude is everything. Remember, you have to have the hard skills to do the job, but also those soft skills play a lot too. You
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean? Because you can be super talented, but somebody finds you very hard to work with,
Oh yeah.
and that's gonna drop real quick. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. That's why I was saying, work culture and everything. Like you said, you're if you could be the most talented person, but people, if your rep is that you're difficult to work with, they're not gonna want to have you or have you in the company because it just disrupts the culture of
Exactly.
what. So, like I said, those are great nuggets for sure. Mr. Antoine agrees. Amazing advice indeed, for sure. So always, like I said, make it a community. It's about community and people helping each other. And I think, like you said, you'll start to see all these amazing things happen. That's why I can't wait at some point down the line, or it may never happen, Antoine. We're able to work together and work on a project together or do something together.
Man, do something for you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
do something
I'm, all,
together. It's
I'm,
all about community.
I'm all
So
about helping my people, man. You know, like I really am. Um, I pride on that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely, man. You ever need something? You need some animation or something? You need to do something? I definitely jump on it. You know what I mean?
and it goes both ways, man. I always told you, and I told you the first time we connected, if there's anything I'm able to do to help support you and what you're doing, that's what a relationship and friends are true friends, I think, are about.
Gonna be invested on EX140.
Hey, trust me, if you got a Patreon, I don't mind dropping. I'll drop as much as I can. But I always say, um, me personally, and it's funny because I told this to Joshua. Um, I'd love to eventually be in a position to back and produce different content. That's the beauty of this show. I've met some incredible people that are working on their own ideas, their own IP, and their own things, but are trying to do it themselves or trying to find somebody to fund them. I would love to be a company, like I said, like Lion Forge, producing some of this stuff,
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
because I see the potential of what it could do, and I've made friendships, and I know the quality of that person. I know the
Yeah,
quality of how you are as a person. I know the quality Joshua. I would love to be able to fund Marcus Williams project, the Tuskegee Heirs. I think that's amazing comic book.
Yeah,
Um,
oh, that's good.
so it's
That's
so
sweet.
many things. That's why I said I would love to be in that position to do that, and that's where I'm working towards now to finally get myself in a position to where I can you know um, back and produce, work on, like I said, anything I can do right now to help, until I get those $1 million that I can put behind a project. Sure.
I want to help you too. I want to whatever I can help with your channel, man. Like and boasting it and stuff. Let me know. You know what I mean? Like just getting other people. I know a lot of people, man. Just getting them to come on and you have them talk. A lot of talented people that would I think would be fantastic to come on for you to interview and talk, man. Get your,
I appreciate that, man. I
you know,
appreciate that for sure. You're already helping being on the show right now. Again, I definitely know that you know people that would be a great fit to come on to the show. So I'm definitely reaching out to you on that as well. Uh, let me see. I'm loving how prone to laughter.
yeah.
Hey.
That's is the dichotomy of anger, man. So get pissed off.
I told him I was gonna make this, try and make this, which always do all my episodes. Try and make it as fun and as comfortable as possible to make it enjoyable, not only for the guests but for you, the viewers, as well. So I hope you all have enjoyed this as much as I have enjoyed having Antoine on the show, and cannot wait to get him back on once the movie is released. And even before then, if you want to come back on before then to chop it up, like I said, now that you're a Color of Motion fan, the invitation to the show is always open. You're always able to come back on the show
So,
whenever, even if it's just to catch up.
oh, thank you so much, Don. Appreciate it,
Mr.
man.
Mario, he's high on humor, and it really makes you got cut off there. And it really makes him. We'll just fill it in. It really makes him.
Makes you what? Wait a minute. Am I missing something here?
He's like,
Yeah,
wait, I don't know if I want to finish this.
I'm sorry, bro. I didn't know what.
Okay, he's high on humor and is really getting happy energy. So we'll take that, man, because we were kind of worried where you were going with that.
Oh my God, that's
Man,
too
we've
much.
had some fun on this episode for sure. Mr. Downtown DeMille, at Ask Antoine, have you ever been told you sound similar to Charles Barkley? I can hear a little of that right now.
I haven't. I told her I look like him, but I haven't been told I sound like him. But
Hey, like I said,
I'm not alone. All right.
oh
Oh,
man, I
I don't
tell
know
you.
that broccoli, but anyway, I digress on that.
Yeah, you do kind of. You do kind of sound like him now that I listen to. You just said that. I was like, yeah, you do kind of sound like.
Oh man, I'm gone, man. Hey man, I get
Man,
some.
we've been having, like I said, just an amazing time. I cannot thank my guest enough, Antoine, for coming on the show, man, brother. Like I said, this was well worth the wait, even outside of all the technical difficulties, for sure. And definitely can't wait to have you back on the show, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, and keep grinding, keep doing it, keep getting these people on here, man. And I love what you're doing for the community and what the, for the LinkedIn community, just in general for people of color, man. I think you're doing some special stuff, and I just want to honor you for that. So thank you for having
I
me.
appreciate that,
I
man.
appreciate it so much, man. Maybe one day I'll have this film done next time I come on here. So we'll see. But
Well, hopefully, like I said, we'll get you on before the end. I don't want to wait too long. But
yeah, yeah,
like I
yeah.
said, you're always you always have an open door to come onto the show for sure, and definitely know I want you back on, even before before the film's done. Doesn't matter to me, for sure. If you could hang out in the green room for just a minute while I close out the show, I'd appreciate it so we could holler at each other. But everybody, please, please help me thank my very special guest again, Mr. Antoine Cunningham, for coming on the show. Thank you, Antoine. Well, again, I appreciate everybody for coming back on the show. Like I said, I've had some kind of man, he's back. Okay, let me see if I can switch this here. Man, I'm just having all kinds of technical difficulties here. Okay, I'm gonna switch to this scene here. Okay, wouldn't you know, the last episode before my short hiatus there, I'll be having some massive stuff. So I got, which is a good thing while I'm doing this hiatus. It give me a chance to, like I said, get some things worked out. So it's been a great episode for sure. Like I said, I can't thank you enough for tuning in, sticking with us, doing these little hiccups here. But like I've always said, hey, live streaming is, sometimes it happens like that. And sometimes it doesn't run as smoothly as you would like it to. But Antoine, being the person that he is, he made it easy for me. Could have really stuck it to me. So, I appreciate him for one coming on the show, and I always appreciate all of you for tuning in and hanging with me and making the show what it is. Again, we will be taking a little break. Make sure that you join me for my next live guest, which will be April 1st. And I'm so looking forward to that. Miss Aisha King, animation production and production manager with Talent Barbados. Looking forward to having her on. And like I said, we're taking a few week break to kind of, like I said, get ourselves together, work on a few other things for the show. But we will be, and in the between time, I will be rebroadcasting some old episodes for sure, so that you don't miss out on the color of motion, and we're not just disappearing and ghosting on you there. We aren't going to do that. Never going to do that. So we're always going to be active and putting stuff out. But again, we will be back live April 1st for sure. So with that, like I said, this has been a fun but taxing episode, I will have to say, just for the technical challenges. But it was a super fun episode, and definitely Antoine made that possible for sure. So looking forward to having him back on the show soon. Miss Maggie, I appreciate you coming back and hanging with me as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mr. Dewan, I appreciate that. You have a great weekend as well. Everybody have a great weekend as well. I will see you April 1st, same bat time, same bat channel. But again, make sure you tune in next week, because if you want, because it will be a rebroadcast. I have to find a good old episode that I want to rebroadcast. So you can tune in next week for sure, and catch an episode. And I may be in the chat just chopping it up with you guys for sure. So have a great week. I will see you same bat time, same bat channel, and have a good one. Peace.